Hi, I'm the Prodigal Fish, and welcome to Fractured World History. So yeah, here we go, first lore video. I just got off my work, and I just shotgun to bang, so let's get into this. So, Warhammer 40K is it's a very big canon, and it's impossible to know everything, well, unless you're the Prodigal Fish. So yeah, shameless plug. But where do you begin? Well, we're just going to start at the beginning and work our way through it. So, the very beginning of Warhammer 40K takes place in the Golden Age of Technology, or also called the Dark Age of Technology, which is already kind of ironic because that was actually humanity's most advanced time. Like I said, I will not be reading off of a wiki because I think that's dumb as and this is just going to be me off the cuff, so we'll see how it goes. If I miss anything, put it in the comments, let me know, and we'll see how we can make everything better. So the Dark Age of Technology, or the Golden Age, begins in the 15th millennia. So we're all dead by now, and let's put it in perspective. We're in the 2nd millennia, so literally 13,000 years from now. And humanity has evolved. We have spaceships and colonizing fleets, and there are billions upon billions upon billions, probably trillions of people all across the galaxy. We're sending colony ships out to the far reaches of the solar system, and people are just living there. And during the Sol, we have a massive trade empire, and we're trading with each other. Terra is one of the most advanced, beautiful planets there is. I mean, it's full of people, and it's really overpopulated, but it's still like the crown jewel. So as these people are traveling, we invent the sublight engine to travel first. And those sublights, it takes generations of people to get to where they're going. So there's literally like people live their whole lives on spaceships because we don't have, I guess, deep freeze, and there's no warp travel. As time goes by, they develop the warp travel to literally tear a hole through reality and go through. But you need a Geller field. If you don't know what that is, it pretty much keeps the freakish things of the warp you. So yeah, it's pretty much that. Good times, yeah, good times. So as humanity is going by and is reaching the edges of the galaxy, we run into the first alien races, the Eldari, the Elves. Well, we'll talk about them later in depth, but the Elves had a massive empire. There were quadrillions of these guys. Every single one of them was like multi-millionaires, and they didn't really need to fight. Well, we got into it with them, and we got into it with the Orcs, which were Quarks back then, which were smart versions. They're not the dumb WoW ones we know now. And humanity was so badass that they actually managed to fight them until we got a non-aggression pact. So everybody respects humanity. It's like not the 40K you know. And as we go by, we start relying on artificial intelligence like machines, Skynet. Like, instead of us fighting and doing everything, we have robots. They're called the Men of Iron. And the Men of Iron are out there. And as the Men of Iron are seeing that humanity is just living normal lives and they're literally forced to do everything, they become self-aware. And then you have what's known as, I believe it's called, it's the Men of Iron Rebellion. And so the machines rise up and they destroy humanity. It's pretty bad. They just turn on their master because they control everything, the power, the weapons, the military. So humanity's getting wiped out. And it took the elves helping us, the Eldari, and the Eldari and other races, which a lot of them got wiped out later on, to help us to end it. By the end of it, humanity cannot reach each other. Every planet's pretty much on their own. And Terra is just dying. Because Terra was the center of trade, it relied on outside resources, water, food, and all that to feed its billions of people. But because they couldn't get resources, literally millions of people were dying a day of thirst and starvation. And that just kind of kicks it off. And you may be asking, where was the Emperor the whole time for all this? He was just waiting. He knew he couldn't step up at the time. Because you have the things called Psychers, and the Psychers are like the people with the mind powers that literally use the energy of the warp, where chaos is from. And people grew superstitious and tired of them that they would just hunt them down. So the Emperor knew that he could not reveal himself because they would have turned on him. So I think of another thing. So the Dark Age of Technology was so pivotal, and humanity hates AI, which even now, if you look in the Imperium, they don't have artificial intelligence. The Skitarii are kind of pushing it, and they kind of look the other way, but if you ever see the flying skull of Servitor, that is not a robot. That is a person. So if you're a criminal, or they have people grown in lab vats, or if you just, I guess, made the mistake or didn't praise the Emperor hard enough, you get lobotomized, and you get put in these machines. And that is your fate. So next time you play a Dark Tide or see a door, that is a person operating that door, or running a computer, or running a machine. Just keep that in mind. It's pretty messed up. So life for humanity before everything fell apart was pretty easy. Like, Imagine all the conveniences you have now, but multiply that plus awesome. People didn't want for anything. They had anything they needed: food, water. I'm assuming they had their version of the internet, if that even existed, and medicine and everything. But the one thing that they had, it was called a STC, a standard template construct. And these STCs are like blueprints. And every colonist that tell you, they had special STCs with them, which is why the Adeptus Mechanicus, they literally love these things, because every time they find an STC, that is lost technology. It could be anything it could be something as simple as, what's something simple, like how to build a mechanical pencil, to how to build a cloning machine, to how to build a tank. So those are actually pretty important, and those are a big part. So whenever they find a new world or a lost world, it's a big deal for. So let's talk about the end of the Golden Age. So the Golden Age did pretty well for a long time. It went from the 15th millennium to the 25th. And it ended because there were a bunch of warp storms going around. If you don't know what that is, it's literally the warps just... It's like a hurricane, but with like evil and debauchery. And what really caused it was the birth of Slaanesh. If you don't know what the birth of Slaanesh was, I'll explain it later. But the short version is the elves were so successful that they got bored, and they started just murdering and raping each other and committing just depraved acts, worse and worse and worse and worse. And all it was doing was feeding the energy of the warp. And the Chaos Gods were around, but they weren't around at the same time. And all these feelings, because that's what Chaos Gods are, they're the feelings and the beliefs and the emotions of everything that's alive. And all this debauchery was just feeding into it, and it just gave birth to Slaanesh. And when Slaanesh was born, it wiped out most of the Eldar. Yeah, Eldari? Yeah, most of them. And it really cut off humanity from each other. And from this time, you have humanity's civilizations crumbled. They're fighting the Men of Iron. There's warp storms everywhere. There's psychers rising up and using these newfound powers to kill planets and kill everybody around them. Human settlements are just rebelling or going insane. And at this time, you start seeing mutations like the Ogrins, the Ratlings, and the Squats. And because the warp storms are turning the environment, well, really, it was destroying them, you had to adapt. And that's why you have so many abhumans or mutations. Another thing that was happening towards the end is the demons started appearing, and psychers who were using their powers were starting to get, I guess, overwhelmed by them. And they were turning into just terrible, terrible little shits that had to be killed. So, for about 5,000 years after the Age of Technology, you have the Age of Strife, which is when everything kind of... Well, that's when humanity pretty much almost became extinct. And that'll cause the Emperor's rise. But we'll cover that in the next one. I just wanted to just give you a short, off-the-cuff explanation of the Age of Technology. I'm not going to do long, drawn-out set pieces, and I'm not going to read off a wiki. So I hope this is just an easy layman's way to explain it. I will do better as we go, and I will be sure to have guests who can help explain this. I'm just a normal guy who loves Warhammer 40K. And I just want to share it with you guys so you can share it with other people. Well, if you liked it, do me a favor and please like and subscribe, and share it with your friends. And if you have any suggestions of future topics, or if you want to be in a video, because I'm not a natural orator, I would love to have you. Anyway, that's it for now. This is TheProdigalFish, signing off. Bye.